Good morning and welcome to Round the Globe on Aneke TV. The headlines. Duke of Sussex visits charity clearing landmines in Angola. Federal government holds special FEC session in Buhari's honor. In other news, Enugu residents react to Buhari's death. Meanwhile, Abia State is to get $263.8 million boost for roads infrastructures from AFDB, ISDB. I am Faith Wins Ezzy. Now the news in details. We begin with Angola. The Duke of Sussex has followed in the footsteps of his mother, Princess Diana, as he visited a charity clearing landmark in Angola. Prince Harry was in Angola supporting the work of the Aloe Trust, the charity that had been backed by Princess Diana on a high-profile visit to the Central African country in 1997. The image of the princess walking through a landmine The image of the princess walking through a minefield in Vaisor and body armor had brought worldwide attention to the danger caused by mines left behind after wars had ended. Prince Harry visited a village near to a minefield and met children who are given lessons in how to avoid detonating the explosives. Over to U.S. Republicans in the U.S. State Senate have said they will spare the U.S.-backed HIV and AIDS program PEPFAR from cuts amid a larger effort to reduce government spending. Senators said they would end a plan to cut $400 million, that is £300 million, from the President's emergency plan to AIDS relief program, leaving total proposed cuts at $9 billion. The proposition was made in a Senate amendment to a rescission package, meaning a bill that allowed lawmakers to cancel previous funding approved by Congress. The planned cancellations also include funds for international and public broadcasting. If the PEPFAR amendment is approved, the bill will go back to the House of Representatives for another vote ahead of tomorrow's deadline. Multiple senators from both parties had expressed concern with cuts to PEPFAR, which was launched under President George W. Bush and had been credited with saving tens of millions of lives around the world, especially in Africa. Back home, the federal government will hold an expanded special session of the Federal Executive Council in honor of the late former President Muhammadu Buhari. The expanded meeting is part of the series of national mourning activities approved by President Bola Tinubu following Buhari's passing. According to a statement signed by the Special Assistant on Media to the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mr. Rabiu Ibrahim, the special FEC session is scheduled for evening at the Council Chambers of the Presidential Villa in Abuja. The statement said that the expanded FEC meeting in Abuja would have in attendance key national figures, including the leadership of the National Assembly, both the Senate and the House of Representatives, members of the judiciary, and representatives of the late president's family. The government has also scheduled interfaith prayer sessions in honor of the deceased former president, with a special prayer session scheduled at the National Mosque on Friday, July 18, and a special church service on Sunday, July 20, 2025. Still on Buhari's death, some residents of Enugu have expressed shock and described the death of former President Muhammadu Buhari as a significant loss. Mr. Buhari, who passed away on Sunday, July 13, 2025 at a London clinic in the United Kingdom, served as President of Nigeria from 2015 to 2023. Correspondent Chinwendu Nwankwo spoke with a cross-section of residents who lauded him as a man of integrity who governed the nation with the fear of God. Over in Nigeria, away from that, A former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Chief Aneke, says Nigeria needs a new inclusive and democratic constitution that will accommodate the country's plurality. Chief Aneke stated this in a national summit organized by the Patriots and Nigerian Political Summit Group in Abuja. He said that the 1999 constitution was not democratically formulated and is not in sync with the plural nature of the country. Chief Aneke, who was the chairman of the summit, said that only a constitution that accommodates the plurality of Nigeria could address the country's myriad of challenges. According to the elder statesman, the rising cases of insecurity, high poverty, lagging infrastructure, and lack of confidence in the future among the growing youth population have necessitated a new constitution. Over in Abia, the African Development Bank has announced the launch of a $263.8 million integrated infrastructure development project in Abia aimed at modernizing urban infrastructure and rehabilitating over 248 kilometers and roads across the cities of Umuahia and Aba. According to a press statement issued by the bank, the project, which was officially launched last month, is being implemented in partnership with the Islamic Development Bank, the federal government of Nigeria, and the Abia state government. The African Development Bank is contributing $115 million to the project, $100 million from the ADB window, and $15 million from the Canada AFDB Climate Fund. The Islamic Development Bank is co-financing with $125 million, while the federal government is providing $23.8 million in counterpart funding. The AFDB further stated that Abia State, like many fast-growing regions, has been grappling with aging infrastructure, urban expansion, and environmental pressure that have strained public health and economic productivity, particularly in Umuahia and Aba. The new project is expected to address these challenges through integrated and sustainable infrastructure renewal. Commenting on the project during the launch event, the governor of Abia State, Alex Otti, described it as a turning point in the state's development trajectory. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps Federal Capital Territory Command has graduated 250 of its personnel who successfully completed a 5-week training in sign language. The graduation ceremony held at the NSCDC Command Headquarters in Abuja marked a step towards inclusive and people-centered security service. Speaking at the event, the commandant of the FCT Command, Dr. Olushola Odumusu, described the initiative as a momentous turning point in the Corps' ongoing commitment and bridging communication gaps and promoting inclusivity in the security sector. Dr. Odumusu stressed that capacity building remains at the core of the Corps mission to offer modern, responsive, and inclusive security services. He lauded the graduating officers for their dedication and underscored the broader implications of the training. That's it on Round the Globe News at 9. Keep watching Aneke TV. I am Faith Wins Ezzy.
Of the oja, the traditional Igbo flute, and okeke drum echoing through the air, the festival created a peaceful and reflective atmosphere. It reminded guests of the deep values rooted in Igbo culture, where music, moonlight stories, and tradition are deeply connected. One of the key aims of the festival is to promote cultural awareness and identity, especially among the young generation. Organizers say the event is relevant now more than ever as modern influences continue to push many indigenous languages and traditions to the background. The festival encourages Igbo people across the globe to embrace their roots, speak their language, and carry forward the values of truth, peace, unity, and communal living. Names like Ndoka, Ndubisi and Ndudi reflect the Igbo view of life as sacred. The event revisited a key moment in Achebe's novel, where Okonkwo accidentally killed a clansman and exiled, showing how Igbo culture handles justice and morality. The award-winning author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie was among the special guests.
In Igbo culture, nothing is more sacred than life. In Igbo culture, a sibling must never take the life of another sibling. That is what we mean when we call a child Ndoka, Ndubisi, Ndode. The preservation of life is sacrosanct. Things Fall Apart demonstrates the central Igbo belief in the sacredness of life. Okonkwo accidentally murders a member of his community. It is truly an accident. His gun goes off during a feast, and yet his community punishes him severely. His home is destroyed and burnt, and he's banished for years. And this was an accident. Now imagine the severity of the punishment for murder in Igbo culture. Igbo culture abhors the taking of innocent life. We must remember that we are a great people. We have to remember that we are people who make remarkable sacrifices to live their dreams wherever they find themselves. We are people who have mastered the art of surviving the most unaccustomed parts of the earth. Let us not forget the wonderful, unique apprenticeship system that we have, Mwa boy. Often we forget the Mwa girl, where young women learn things like sewing from women, and the wonderful and unique rituals and expectations that those involve. Ndibo, let us remember who we really are. We cannot become untethered from the harness of our proud and beautiful history and heritage. Igbo must once again mean what it truly means. Not selfishness, but community. Not violence, but a fierce desire to succeed through hard work, diligence, honesty, truth-telling. Where is the gatekeeping role of the community over every member? Something that has been central in Igbo culture for centuries. Every success needs validation from the cultural milieu that birthed it. We hear success stories, but in most cases, we see only the success, but not the story. What is the story behind the successes that we celebrate today? Okonkwo's greatness in Umuofia was not possible without Umuofia's collective say-so. Ndibo must unite and strive to become a beacon for Nigeria, and indeed for Africa.
Adichie describes Chinua Achebe as a writer who deeply loved his people and used stories to preserve Igbo identity. She also encouraged young writers in the audience to keep working on their crafts despite setbacks. Chinwendo Ifeanyi Nwankwo, Aneke TV.